Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between.
Welcome. Wow. Change of scenery. We are now in a secret area. Actually, I don't think we've ever filmed a video in this area. That's a lie. We have.
Have we?
Mm-hmm.
We have, but it looked a little different.
Yes. This is our D&D room.
This is the dungeon. This is not the studio. Oh, wait.
Sounds a little naughty, but we'll go ahead and move on. I'm Mike, that's Bree. Welcome to Fracture Compass, and we are discussing haunt news. Let's jump right into it.
That's right. So, Knott has been releasing slowly these really cute little videos of these kids breaking into a theme park.
Good idea.
And perusing the train and finding all different kinds of compartments and what's going inside of them. And we haven't talked about Knotts in a while. And I know a lot of people have been talking about HHN and what's going on, and we just got back from Midsummer. Mm-hmm. We just got back from the Universal panel with Murdy, but I was like, you know what? Let's go to the farm.
Yeah.
Let's visit the farm, not the studio right now. So, the first thing that they announced was what mazes were coming back, and we basically have all the returning mazes that we had predicted that were going to be returning. So, but what I want to know from you, Mike, is let's go down the line of all the mazes that are going to be returning to Not Scary Farm this year.
Give a thumbs up and a thumbs down.
Well, like not like it's so much like a thumbs up and thumbs down, but what do you like about the maze, and what would you like them to what would you like to see them change in the maze? Because usually they do tiny little changes.
Yes, they do.
Within.
You're right.
So let's start backstage.
Okay.
Okay, and let's head to Waxworks.
All right. First, we got to acknowledge how beautiful Waxworks is.
It's a gorgeous maze.
That is the maze that I love. The aesthetic, the theatricality to it. So I'm happy that's returning. Something I would like to see is maybe a little bit more scare actors in the opening parts. Before we really get into the waxy part of the maze, there's a lot of like statues of like, I think it was George Washington, you know, you're in that like weird spotlight area with like the curtains and stuff. And I would like to see some, a little bit more horror in that side. Not a critique, just, you know, a little add. Maybe a new character could be in that area to kind of fill that spot. But really that maze to me is quite perfect in my book. What about you?
So, again, amazing maze, and coming from the final piece that he had made into basically like the boiling wax chamber.
Love that.
Where it's just gorgeous and beautiful. Right when you pass the girl that is coming out of the melting pot and her face is melted off, you are supposed to be entering from what I assume is your own kind of melting pot.
Like you're getting waxed.
Yeah, like the chambers that are supposed to be formed. But
it doesn't really read that way.
It doesn't read that way. I get what it's going, but I want the ending to just hit so much harder. Like, it's just not giving up until you're out of that. You know, you're trying to really, really escape that. Because I think it just kind of gets dark at that point. And there's a lot of sound effects and things like that, but it's just really dark, and then you exit out.
You know what would be great to enhance that part is maybe have, like, instead of it being dark, just have a bunch of, like, wax hands reaching out to you, and then, like, they, like, move or something.
So, whatever. They don't even have to move, but that's an amazing idea.
Thank you.
You could do that. You could take the old infected wall, the zombie wall.
Yeah, something. Or,
and that
like,
would fit perfect right there.
So that would be my wish if they were to ask, you know, me, like, what do you want?
So let's dive on.
You could dive right into the depths.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
backstage.
Let's dive into the depths.
Yes.
What would I change about this maze? Everything. So here's my idea. I'm just kidding. No,
I
see,
think the beginning of the depths is slow, and the second you get into the fog, the swamp area, then it picks up.
Yeah, you know what it's just, I have this, like, vendetta against the depths because it took voodoo away from me. And I loved, so everything I say about the depths is just not fair, because I just loved voodoo. I think the depths is a good maze. I do. Are there things I would change about it? Sure. Jackie hit it right on the head. That opening is really slow. I am so happy that they did away with that elevator sequence. That just halted the line.
It did.
Clever concept.
Yes.
Love that Knotts took that risk and tried to put it into their house.
Yeah.
Maze.
They're maze. Yeah, they're maze. We're old school.
But it just didn't work logistically. I would really like to see maybe a switch up on the story. You know how when they did the vampire maze, was it Dominion of the Damned?
Dominion of the Dead and then Dominion of the Damned.
Yeah, you know, and they like did just they changed the story, and just the fact that they changed the story, it made such a big difference. Maybe they can change the story of the depths instead of it being like, I don't even know what the depth's about.
So basically, when you're into that mine, they mined so deep that they hit into these caverns where these monsters were unleashed.
Okay.
It's supposed to be Lovecraftian.
It's very Lovecraftian. And
yes, it is.
Yeah, and so when you do break through, and I think maybe you're absolutely right that the beginning is a little slow, and if you do know the backstory, it kind of makes more sense. But if you didn't, you were kind of like, okay, I was in a mine, and then all of a sudden I was here. And I don't think that, I think there was some things that were changed as the maze was being designed, but yeah, you could make that a more fluid story, like make it a little more, instead of the miners being scare actors per se, you could have them like just working and like maybe coming out every now and then, you know, like even as in Infected as what are we called? Squad leaders. We were there to help the guests through, but there were also moments where we would pop out and scare you on purpose and be like, let's go, like we need to get through. So if we're getting through and it's more of the water starts to kind of seep in slowly as you're getting deeper and deeper into the thing. There's more ambience of being in the depths, and then all of a sudden just you're in it.
Like Titanic shit.
Well, and like that, the thing about caves, to me, caves terrify me.
Oh,
especially that story with John Jones where he got stuck and he basically
horrible.
died and he got cemented into that.
Yeah. Because they couldn't get him out.
Caves are so claustrophobic, and the fact that you are in this dark area, you don't have a flashlight, you're basically effed.
Yeah.
I got in trouble because my grandma doesn't like it when I curse on these videos, so I have to say F.
Sorry, Grandma.
Just for you, Grandma.
But like, let's add an element of different kind of horror. Instead of it having to necessarily be monsters, what if it was just, you know what, this is the depths, you are a cave explorer, you are getting stuck, and the water is rising.
Yo.
What if there was a flood?
What if? And I know
That's
this
like
is
my worst fear is someone.
I know
I love like the
happen.
Narrows at Zion, and a flash flood scares the shit out of me.
What if
Hard
as you're-
execution.
I know this isn't possible.
It's always, anything's possible.
I know this isn't possible. Well, but they would have to test it because the whole ADA compliance thing. But what if you started just the big cave, and as you got, like you said, it just got narrower and
Love that.
narrower
I mean,
and narrower and
you can have
claustrophobically.
those push balloon bag things. I mean, that's.
But you'd have to
force perspective it too.
Yeah, you could, but I mean, you can get something so small that a wheelchair could still go
Sure.
through it.
We did it.
They're lower. You know, they're you're already sitting when you're in a wheelchair or an ECV or anything. So people who are able would just have to duck down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And we can have a scare actor there to make sure we had one in Infected because we had duck points. So.
And like, you know, I would love to see Knotts tackle a psychological maze, more so a gore and you know, they have done that before. I think Mesmer kind of tapped into the psychological aspect of things, but let's just play on elemental fears.
Yeah.
Let's play on the human condition of being scared, stuck,
Trapped.
not being able to breathe.
Yep.
There's those things, those ingredients are so basic, but there's a reason why they're so effective. And I would love to see it be less about like, you know what, all of a sudden there's a monster cave, which I love. Yeah. I know this sounds terrible, like I'm totally crapping on this maze. I do like the maze. I'm just like, now I'm thinking, because I'm excited, like what if Knotts tackled that kind of genre? I think that would be excellent.
To kind of piggyback and kind of wrap up the depths here, because I really like the idea of playing off of primal fears because it's so simple. But yes, we're conditioned to be afraid of that because it has killed people.
Yeah.
But for the depths, I really would love to see them lean into the actual Lovecraftian style of horror, rather than it being like, oh, that looks like Davy Jones. Oh, there's mermaids. Oh, cool, little like cavemen. Really get into that deep Eldritch style horror. That's what I would like to see with that.
Yes, and I have to say, the ship, the design of that maze, once it gets going to that part, excellent.
Yeah, well, once you break through that small entrance, that small exit point, it blows up into this world,
One thing.
Yeah.
No, you go.
I'm just saying, walking through the whale bones, walking past the bridge, past the Kraken, onto this rocking ship, having giant shark things come out at you. That is all absolutely fantastic.
And that's what I want also changed, is I would like the shark to come out more frequently. So I can not miss it. I've missed it every time I walk through. It's always in its hole, and I'm like, come here. Come here.
We'll make that.
And it's super shy. And then I leave, and as I'm leaving, I can't turn back then. I'm an asshole if I do.
Meh.
It's behind me, and it's all, and I'm all, I was there for
5 minutes.
25 seconds.
Oh.
And you didn't give me nothing.
So another maze in the back, Dark Entities.
All right, moving on.
Dark Entities.
Dark titties. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I have never liked Dark Entities. That does not mean I don't like the talent or even the sets. I just don't like it, and I don't know why. I know why.
Is it because it tried to be the thing and it wasn't the thing?
No, I just think instead of it, and maybe it was, I don't know. I don't want to piss off fans, but I'm going to do it. That's why I am here. I think it tried too hard to be goofy and campy, and it just translated to cheap to me. I'm sorry. One specific thing, and I know he's iconic, that little robot in the beginning. I was like, what the fuck is that thing?
We have one.
He's the robot helpers.
I know, and you have him on your.
I do.
And that's why I felt bad saying that.
They're just that one that's doing surgery. He's just really trying his best. He's just not doing a good job.
I just don't like Dark Entities. I don't like it.
Do you know what I wish Dark Entities was?
Dead Space.
Okay, hold that thought. We're on the same page. We're totally on the same page. Me, Jackie, hello, hi. I don't like aliens. Aliens scare me.
They're scary.
And I watched everyone play Alien Isolation. That is what Dark Entities could be. But it's just not quite there.
Yes. Have you guys ever seen that movie Fire in the Sky?
Yeah.
Back, I think, in the 90s?
Fantastic movie.
Fantastic movies. You know the sequence
Scary.
where he's abducted and they show what they're doing to him?
They show everything.
That is what I was hoping Dark Entities was going to be a vibe with. And I think that's almost maybe what they were trying to go for. Body horror. It just didn't translate well to me. But I don't even want to say that, the maze is bad. I know this is just a me thing.
Yeah. The entity is infecting all the crew members, and that's why they look the way they look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which gives me the Thing vibes, but again, I just don't think it was quite executed perfectly.
And that's okay.
And that is okay. But I think we're all on the same page with this. Dark Entities could be amazing. It just needs some polish in the right places.
Yeah.
It really does.
I would like where the entity is kind of trapped within the laser grid. I think I would like something
moving,
different or moving or something and I don't know.
Disco Dragon.
Yeah, I don't know if that's possible, but that was my only thing. Other than that, actually going through the maze, the one thing where I just try to do all the handprints because it creates effects as you touch them. I thought that was really neat.
Peyton and I touched the hand effect at the end, and we self-destructed the ship.
So that's cool, and even the shaking floors, the lasers, the lighting, I have to say, is incredible in that maze. But, let's go.
Got it.
Let's go move on to the next one.
Moving on.
Paranormal's gone.
So Paranormal is gone. It was the last year.
Final year.
Congrats to them for winning the Golden Haunt Award. They did an amazing job, and it was an amazing 7 years for that maze.
Incredible.
Still pumped about it. But now we have something new.
Yeah.
So we have...
And I have confirmation on what it is. It's called Doll Factory 2.
I was like, really?
And I'm so excited. Little did we know, Doll Factory 2 will be returning to Not Scary Farm this year. Get your tickets. No, I'm just kidding. That is not it. No, I just want Doll Factory back because I have such a special place in my heart. We do not know what's going to be in that maze, but I do know that that building has extreme potential because it is in such a big warehouse.
Yes.
You can fit some amazing sets. Look what they did with Paranormal Inc. They had people flying above you. They had multiple actors above you. The rigging, everything can just be chef's kiss in this maze. And I can only hope, we can only hope that Knott's utilizes that amazing space and just go all out.
Now, if you could blue sky something, anything you want, what would you put there?
You said Doll Factory 2.
Doll Factory 2, or get this, Club Blood 2. I just liked that maze, but this could be like...
Listen, a lot of people
Blood.
really liked Club Blood, and if you go back and watch it, it's kind of a good maze.
It is a good maze. The scenery was so iconic. It could be awesome, and instead of it could be called, like, I don't know.
We could even, I don't know. It's time. I feel like zombies have had their days. Yeah. It's time to bring back the werewolves. It's time to bring back
give me werewolves that don't look like stuffed puppies.
I know. Like we could do Red Moon Massacre like forever. Like
Red Moon Massacre the 10th.
The 10th, like
yeah.
So I think that covers it for
the backstage.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the returning mazes that are on the main area. Let's go with Pumpkin Eater.
Pumpkin Eater. Okay.
Pumpkin Eater.
You guys, Jax don't like Pumpkin Eater. You don't like Pumpkin Eater. You're okay with it. I do like
Pumpkin Eater. It's
You're
just
okay
time
with
for it to retire.
Agreed.
Yeah. So last year when I went through Pumpkin Eater, I liked the changes that they did.
I liked the rat room. Oh, I love the rat room.
Was really good. The actual moving area, the bridge or whatever covered bridge that you went through was amazing.
Yes.
So I know people are like Pumpkin Eater, but there are certain aspects of that maze that are quintessential Halloween that I like, that I love, and I don't think that it's going to go. I could be wrong because I don't know what they're retiring this year. They haven't announced any of that yet, but I just don't think it's gonna go away right now.
Well, I'll tell you.
I don't know.
Last year, when I was going through all the mazes, I think at this point, after Halloween Horror Nights and after a Haunted Hayride, by the time I get to Knott's, I'm jaded. I'm like, scare me. Do it. I dare you, right? Mm-hmm. And not that the scare actor's doing bad or anything, I don't typically get scared because I've already,
You're already there.
I'm already there, you know? Last year, I saved Pumpkin Eater for last because I was like, I don't care about Pumpkin Eater. I don't give a shit about this maze, but I'm going to go through it because I want to film it. That was the one maze that got me good. It was the best scare of the night, and I forgot. It was when everything was more lit towards the end. Mm-hmm. I think it was past the rat room. I think it was at the very end.
Okay.
One of those scare actors just got me, and you can actually see in the video if you guys look at my Pumpkin Eater video, you can see me shake a little bit. Yeah. And that moment right there, I said, you can come back next year. That was
one scare actor saved Pumpkin Eater for you.
Saved Pumpkin
Doesn't mean I'm not kind of tired of it. However, that right there, I said, you've earned my respect for 1 year, but it expires this year. So do what you gotta do. Pumpkin Eater wasn't that bad last year. I actually enjoyed it, but I'm over it.
Moving on.
Pumpkin Eater. Let's talk about Origins.
Origins. Okay. I learned a lot from Origins. Doing an interview with John Cook, I learned a lot. With that said, there are certain... What would be an aspect that you would change of Origins? The beginning half of Origins for me is beautiful.
Love it.
There is a lot going on. You are going through Ghost Town. You are going through Calico when the curse is taking place, and you can see the aspect of Sarah Marshall going from looking normal to looking her magic gets darker and darker and darker, it starts to mar your skin, it starts to mar your soul, and they portrayed that very, very well, and how the citizens of Calico. I think for me, you're in a cavern for a little bit too long.
Okay.
Like.
Okay. Alright.
That's fine.
Yeah. Sure. That's it. But the more I learned about what the caverns were and everything, you're actually underneath Boot Hill. That's why you see the skeletons and everything, and then you're inside and you see the catawampuses and everything, and then you go into her witch's chamber. Like, okay.
Alright. But maybe we could accentuate being under Boot Hill a little more. Because you didn't even know.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that from going into that area, that we were actually underneath Boot Hill, and that all the green light was going on, and that green light that you see that shines up from the bottom when you're in line is because that's what's supposed to be happening.
So with that context,
so smart.
It makes more sense.
Right.
And I like that. So
I'm here to bring context because I just like learning about these things.
But with that context, that's not necessarily common knowledge, and when you're going through a maze, for me, you should, for the most part, be able to tell the story start to finish.
Right, and that's where I'm getting at, is that when you go into that cavern, it's not perfectly clear where you are.
Right. Well, because you didn't even know.
I didn't
know.
know.
And let me tell you something. When Brie goes through a maze, she analyzes every aspect of the maze.
I absolutely do. And the people at Knott's, like, when they know that I don't criticize mazes. I'm not a designer, like, go through it. But as a consumer, because first and foremost, that's what we are. We're fans. We go through, I want to know your story.
Yeah.
I should see your story from beginning to end and walk out and be like, yeah.
Agreed.
Got it,
I got you on that one.
Because I think that's the realm, and correct me if I'm wrong, but going through the realm of Knott's, I think that's what it is heading in that direction. It's not just, we're putting up black walls in a maze and we're going to go boo and scare you. We are now moving towards an era of storytelling, of congruent storytelling.
And that's across the board.
Yes.
We're seeing that happen at Halloween Horror Nights. We're seeing that happen at Haunted Hayride. We're seeing that happen even on small little home haunts.
Yeah.
Home haunts are even creating these amazing stories. Pirates Cave Haunt told one of the most complex stories. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible, the things they did. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is all about storytelling, and sometimes if the aspects of the story aren't exactly clear, especially to an average haunt goer, yeah. So I think that maybe we can flesh out a little bit of that cave and maybe accentuate the bodies, or maybe really show off that this is under a cemetery. Boot Hill Cemetery, no less.
Yeah.
Where the bodies are literally rising from their graves.
Exactly.
Right. And then, I guess that's a perfect segue into Mesmer. And Mesmer to me is still such a new maze. It's perfect in my eyes because it's just so new and shiny and I want to play with it. There is one thing though I would change. Let's talk about the positives real quick though about Mesmer. The biggest thing that stuck out to me wasn't the sets or the actors, all fantastic. It was the soundtrack. It was the soundtrack, and listening to the guy go talk you through the hypnosis and everything was just fantastic.
It was a little intoxicating too.
Yeah.
Kinda...
And you can hear the, what's it called, the
pendulum?
Pendulum. You can hear it. And there was such good beats about that maze, and like everything clicked really well. And even the scenes that like, this shouldn't make sense, it just made sense, because who's to say what you're not mesmerized by? Who's to say what you go through when you're hypnotized? And there was one specific scene that stuck out to me, was when you look down and you're walking on a tightrope. You know, that could have just been totally left field. It just worked in that maze because everything just had its purpose and its place, and I liked that. But here's the one thing I would change about that maze. In the very beginning, you're in a zoetrope.
Okay, yeah.
Correct, right?
Yes.
And the zoetrope kind of moves the little images, but they can't do a full-on zoetrope because guests have to walk through. I would have loved if you look up a little bit above the doorway and it spins up there. So that way guests can still walk through, but it makes you actually feel like you're in a zoetrope, and it can tell a story that way. Granted, you'll have to use flashing lights probably.
Yeah.
And that could be difficult. But I wanted to see like you're really in a zoetrope. That would have been fun. I understand.
Did you like Mr. Zoetrope?
Well,
I loved everything
The
about
big
it.
guy?
I loved it all. Yeah, Mr. Zoetrope is cool.
I still think you can do the flashing lights. There are a lot of warning signs outside of mazes saying that you are going to be
Because isn't that...
subjected to flashing lights. So if you have a problem with that, that is probably something you can either skip or can't go through.
Isn't that a critical part of a zoetrope, is having that aspect of...
Yes, it's to give the illusion that the static picture, once it is turning and you're getting those flashes, that it is a cartoon.
So that would be great. That could be potentially dangerous, though, if you're spinning it that fast above people's heads.
Yeah, I wonder if you could do it projection-wise. Like not actually having something spin, but having the projector, like basically a 360 projector.
Add sound effects.
Yeah.
And you
got it.
It could be
reminds me of
House on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill. Yes.
Yeah.
That is an excellent example of a very scary zoetrope. Mm-hmm. And that changes often. And if you use projections, you can continuously change the story and update the story, and even flesh out the story a little bit for, again, the average haunt goer. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And I'm a little sad that I only got to go through it once, and it was very towards the end of the season. So it was, I didn't get to really absorb a lot of it.
Yeah.
It was
the
so
adrenaline.
new. Yeah. So I'm hoping, because I have a day off in the earlier.
You have my day off from last year.
Yes, that I can go through it earlier in the season and kind of really get the full aspect.
Do you know
of
why
it.
I think you in particular really liked Mesmer? Is because the narration and the soundtrack reminded me a lot of Forevermore.
Yes, and I love Forevermore. Loved, I should say. You're absolutely right. Soundtrack music is something that I'm very passionate about. I should show you guys the orchestra soundtracks. I have a Halloween one, a Disney one, a movie one. I'm very passionate about music in film and in storytelling. And so when I hear a good soundtrack in a maze, sold. That really makes a lot of it for me.
It does. And music evokes emotion.
Yep.
You can show somebody an image and it won't really scare them per se, depending on what it is, or make them feel anything, but you add that music and you've got that emotion to go with it, or you've got that scare to go with it. And there's a lot of time that Jackie and I will be like, well, if you want to really dull down the scare, stick put earplugs in your
I'm
ear.
like, what?
Sorry.
Stick what?
Sorry. If you want to dumb down this, if you want to dull down the scare, stick earplugs in your ear. And if you can't hear the scream, or you can't hear the music, or you can't hear anything, it takes almost 30% of the scare away.
Don't do that, because
I know
you want to get scared.
Don't do that. But
I mean, you can if you
people
want.
that need to.
Yeah, no, agreed. But you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, too, right before we started filming this video, I had a soundtrack. I was like, listen to this and put this in our D&D campaign. What do you guys think? Because I just get passionate about it. So yeah, you're right. Music elicits a strong reaction out of people, which is why I also think the next maze we're going to discuss has a pretty good soundtrack and pretty good use of sound effects, and that is Dark Ride.
It's true. Dark
Ride. Dark Ride to me has probably the best soundtrack as it stands, because of how crappy it is.
And choppy. And
yes, because you can tell that the ride keeps breaking down and then coming back up.
Yes.
It's
excellent
amazing.
way to incorporate the story with the soundtrack. And the thing about Dark Ride is, I know a lot of people are like, oh, okay, Dark Ride again. Dark Ride feels like such a complete maze to me. From start to finish, when you walk in, I know what's happening. I'm going on a dark ride. When you're walking through the track, you feel like you're in a dark ride with the animatronics and everything. And then as you're going behind the scenes and realizing that things are messed up at this Carney ride, it just feels so complete to me. And I'm going to say something. I would not change a thing about Dark Ride. It is a complete maze to me.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't change anything about that.
100%.
Just
Do you
nothing.
guys ever notice why the music's all messed up?
Because the power and the wizard.
There's a bottle of
piss on the breaker.
on the breaker.
Oh.
And it's
Why did I think the
and
wizard?
It's
You're right.
and it's short-circuiting.
There's someone.
It's such a little thing off to the
This is not
side.
to diss the person that did this video, but we were watching a walkthrough of Dark Ride, and someone was like, I think something was really wrong with the audio because it felt like it just kept breaking down, not realizing that was the whole point of the damn maze.
That's telling the story.
But
It's so awesome.
if we could talk about Dark Ride really quick, kind of going along with Origins and Mesmer, they fit the area, and so does Pumpkin Eater.
Yeah.
And what I really like about Dark Ride is Carnival clowns can kind of pop into clown hell there for a few seconds and sit on the throne, and it looks across the board perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You'd never know.
You would never know.
Yeah. Dark Ride to me just feels like such a complete experience from as a beginning, a middle, a end, a story, great soundtrack. I love Dark Ride. I love it. It's not my favorite. It's weird, right? I wouldn't change anything about this maze. It's still not my favorite. However, I'm not sad that it's coming back.
Now, the 2 new rooms that they added, I think
Control
2021, they added the control room and they added the gift shop afterwards. Did you like those
I shit
additions?
myself.
Yeah, I did. I mean, the gift shop is totally a blink and you'll miss it kind of experience.
'Cause it's just a
However,
walkout.
it's still added to the story without taking away from the story, and it still fit with the theme.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally fine with it. One addition that they did to Paranormal Inc. that felt a little jarring, however, I still enjoyed it, was when they did away with the the blue room with the final creature at the end, and they did more of the Shining Hospital sequence. That to me just felt like, oh my gosh, we let all these spirits out and we're in a mental hospital. Were we like imagining the whole thing? What happened? Still a very cool addition because of the use of scrim. Loved the music there, so I wasn't complaining. But Dark Ride didn't do that. Dark Ride said, this is fitting the story completely, no questions asked. I'm sure there's a backstory why they did the hospital in Paranormal Inc. But for the casual haunt goer, I'm all of a sudden it's bright. Wow. And I'm in a hospital. What happened? You know?
Yeah, like, was I in hell? Were there demons released, or did I imagine everything?
Yeah.
Like, but then
Which could be intentional. What you guys are describing could absolutely be
And
intentional.
Right.
I cannot tell you how many people I asked who were in paranormal, Jesse, like so many, including the creator, like, who I don't think was there when they added that addition, but I was like,
What's going on?
what is this? Like, what is really, like, why was that put there? And is it because of what we think it is? And nobody could give me a straight answer.
It was just like, we added this room. Okay. I accepted it. However,
It's like that movie.
Didn't make
with,
sense
like,
necessarily.
Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Shutter Island.
Shutter Island, where he, like, I don't know.
Yeah, Mikey Poo, Shutter Island.
We know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all like he was, spoiler alert, he was a patient.
They were just kind of like playing along.
They were
with
just
them.
playing along with him. Like,
If you guys
a good movie.
if you guys were really paying attention to that movie, by the way, there's an extra twist on the twist. Do you guys know what it is? Gonna ruin it for you?
go ahead.
So
It's
he
so old.
realized that he was the patient, or he was a patient. Mark Ruffalo's character comes up to him and says, like, you know, are you cured and stuff like that? And then he goes back into his I'm a detective phase again. So they said, oh, it's not working. But then he says a line that says, no, I've realized I am insane, without saying I'm insane, and he's just playing the role again. There was an extra little twist that so many people miss.
Got it.
I missed it.
It's one line that Leonardo DiCaprio says at the very end of the movie that just completely flips everything. You're like, nope, he got it. He understood.
Like, he still knows. He just doesn't want to be the
Yeah,
patient.
it was like, would you rather die a monster, or no, would you rather live to be a monster or die being a good man, or something like that? It was like something along the lines of that.
That's deep. That's deep.
All right, so moving on. Are we done? We are done
That's
with
it
all
for
the
the
returning
returning.
mazes. Now we know, because it has been blasted
Blasted
across the internet, there are 2 new mazes coming. What they are, we will have
We've
to
already
wait and
discussed
see.
the spree.
I know.
Doll Factory
Factory
2,
2.
Oh,
Club
I'm
Blood
sorry.
2.
Club Blood
I'm
Come on.
sorry. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Club
silly
Blood.
girl.
I'm a Club Blood and Doll Factory 2. Sorry.
So let's talk
Anyways.
about the scare zones. Let's start with the Hollow.
Returning Scare Zones, The Hollow. The Hollow is coming back without Wicked Drums.
Oh yeah, so we did find that out today.
So
We found
Wicked
out today.
Drums, for
as of
me,
now, we don't know.
As
if
of now.
there's always to be continued. We
But-
haven't gotten that far.
Yes, but as of now, that is not coming in. So
it was definitely a fun attempt at, doing something different. I actually kind of liked it. I liked just sitting and being entertained, and I love watching people drum. I think that's my big thing, like stomp, watching Jackie perform. It's awesome.
yeah,
It's hard.
It's hard to make it necessarily scary or, it was a little corny. So I'm not heartbroken about that. No. The big one, Bree.
but the hollow.
Oh, the hollow.
The hollow.
One thing I wish that they would do for the hollow. Put a maze there, baby. Put a maze near the hollow so that way people walk through the hollow.
But they did.
No, I'm talking put a maze. Put a maze like in the middle of the hollow.
So no, I understood what he was saying because like literally this is what happens. People hit Pumpkin Eater because it is right there at the entrance, the back entrance of it, front entrance, whatever. And then people go like, okay, cool, bye. And
they're missing the best part of that scare zone, and that is in the heart of Camp Snoopy. Guys, you guys they need to put something there, I think, just to like.
Which is why I think the shows are good to get the people into camp.
Right. And the thing about Camp Snoopy, the environment is incredible. You have that rock waterfall. You have the creek. You have the trees all around you that look beautiful lit up. Plenty of lights and decorations, and it's such a shame that it gets overlooked. But logistically, where are we going to put a maze there? Well, there was Cornstalkers where the tracks were, kind of like...
Which led into Fiesta. It was like basically like that halfway point. But that would get people one end and coming into that middle. It would get people coming from
Boardwalk and Forsaken, people coming from Hollow to Regional.
And then, hey, we might as well go from Cornstalkers or that maze to Pumpkin Eater. That gives you the excuse to go across. That's the one thing I wish, because honestly the talent, everything about the Hollow's incredible. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room. There's something that made me irritated about another scare zone. Loved it, except for one thing, and that was the Goring 20s.
Oh, I already know where you're going.
You guys, and I'm not even going to really delve too deep into this.
Underneath the table.
Everyone knows.
Because Bree and I love Goring 20s.
No. I don't want you guys thinking I don't love the Goring 20s. I love Art Deco. I like the darkness of the Hollywood era in the 20s and the 30s. There is so much darkness to explore there. Love the aesthetic. Loved the actors.
I feel like this is my fault. I feel like this is my fault.
A little bit you and me.
No, it was not, because it was announced like whisper the phrase and get into the, what was the room called?
Blind Tiger.
The Blind Tiger, okay? So I should have known from the get-go.
I feel like this is my fault.
I was like, this is the Blind Tiger entrance. Arl, this is weird. Arl's my husband. This is weird, Arl. Go to the other side of this building, inside of the gift shop. There's stuffed animals on the other side of this wall.
Would have been funny if there were tigers.
So, me and Arl, being the complex thinkers that we are, said, okay, this isn't the real entrance, but you're gonna get you tell the phrase here, and then they'll walk you to the real entrance. Because we gave Knott's that credit. We're like, Knott's is creative and they'll do it. And I am not the only one that got pissed that night. There were people all night trying to figure out the phrase. I finally went up to one of the leads. There was a lead there. Bless his heart. I said, listen, partner.
Listen, partner.
Listen, partner. I have filmed everything I've needed to film. I have gone through every maze that I wanted to go through. I am tired. I am very tired. And quite frankly, I'm getting frustrated. I need you to be a real homie right now. A real homie, okay? I don't need you to ruin it for me. I don't even need to tell me what's going on. I just need to know. And I went like this to his eyes, and I said, I just need to know. Should I go home and sleep, or should I keep trying to get into the Blind Tiger? And he looked at me, and you could just tell, like, it was like a parent trying to tell their kid that Santa isn't real. And he was all, I think you should just go home and get some sleep. And I said, thank you for your honesty, and I walked away. Said, thank you for telling me the damn truth. And I felt, because the guy at the entrance too, the bodyguard, he was selling it. And I kept coming back, and I could tell he was like, fuck, like, it's so far deep now.
You can't.
I cannot tell this kid that it's fake. And he was like, I think he may have been SOSing for a little help, like, okay, because he was just swamped by people. It wasn't just me. There were, I'm going to say, hundreds of people.
Was it this guy?
No, it was another guy. He had slick back hair. He had,
It might have been some.
Slicked back hair, that sounds like Suavecito. Sounds like a different
Oh,
movie.
maybe
Suavecito sounds like him, looked like him.
Did he look like a bartender?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bless his heart for doing his best to keep it fun when he was clearly managing a lot of mad people. So this is what I just have to say, Knotts, okay? I appreciate the gag. I really do. It was great, okay? It was great for the first 5 minutes. After that, it got real frustrating. And then by that point, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get into the goddamn blind tiger if it fucking kills me. And then the lead was like, partner. Like, partner. I was like, is this the only thing that you need to do tonight? Yes. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
I said. I don't feel like that much of a fool because there's so many other people that were...
That first night,
But
that first second.
The first thing I did when I saw that entranceway is I went to the gift shop and I said, that is not a real room. That is a fake door. It was kind of amusing seeing people, like I sat on the bench and was just like listening for the code phrase because a lot of people were saying it at the door. And people were like speaking in the little window. Is it applesauce? I was just like, I've already tried that one.
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe the code was applesauce.
It was an applesauce. Is it? You know, they were saying all kinds of stuff. Caramel apple, applesauce, apple pie. Like it was just like, okay, interesting. So
I feel like this is my fault.
I'm gonna cut the complaining there, and I'm gonna say that the Goring 20s was fantastic for 2 reasons. Fantastic theme. Fantastic theme. Okay, there wasn't really a lot of sets. It was, you know, they had like the Paperboy and stuff, but the biggest thing about that was the talent. The talent did such a good job with like the transatlantic accent, with the Paperboy, with the gangsters and the mafia, with the bartender. Bless you.
Sorry, thank you.
Wonderful. And so I will definitely be back for that Goring 20s experience. I'm not going to be asking for a password for the Blind Tiger.
No.
However, brilliant. And then let's segue back into Forsaken Lake. And unfortunately, I didn't spend a whole lot of time in Forsaken Lake this year. I was staying and trying to wait for the procession. I think I just, bless you. Jackie's having an allergy attack. I think I was in a weird time and I just kept missing it, or I just got off the tail off of them doing it. But I love Forsaken Lake, you guys know it. And I also, of course, love Ghost Town.
Ghost Town Streets.
Ghost Town Streets is wonderful. You guys know I'm biased, though. I know quite a few people that are the monsters there, and I love seeing them in their element and their craft. And Ghost Town is just, again, it just has that setting. It has that setting. It's one of the first scare zones that you can really walk to, because let's be real, when you go into Not Scary Farm, at least me, I'm not going to Camp Snoopy first. The first place I want to see to get into the mood to set the night up is Ghost Town.
Yeah.
So
There's really nothing like Fog Alley.
there's nothing like Fog Alley, and quite frankly, there's just nothing like the blue lights, the lighting, the pumpkins above you. I just want to get apple cider and just sit there and watch people get scared. It's wonderful.
Fantastic.
Can I break your Ghost Town really quick and show you someone from Goring 20s?
You go talk to her.
I will say
this
this,
year.
guys,
Yeah, you go talk to her.
that lead did not have to tell me anything, but was smart enough to know that at this point it wasn't entertaining or fun, it was frustration.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that he understood that and said, you know what, I want this guy to have a good rest of his night. I'm gonna have to, he had to break the magic, but that is honestly it
You do a solid.
was a critical thing to do, and I think he knew that, because at that point it was no longer fun. It was angry, and you felt frustrated, and you just want to get into the Blind Tiger. And so I give kudos to the leads for kind of telling people, like, guys, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been an easy thing to do, especially knowing that people have been trying to do it all night. So.
Well, and again, not far-fetched, because that was the exact thing that you had to do to get into the Dark Harbor bars. Which
That's
were,
exactly
which
right.
Were
Which were a
real.
thing.
Which
Yeah.
were a thing.
Which were real.
So when Dark Harbor disappeared, they came out with the Blind Tiger. They put it on social media, like, whisper the thing and get into the Blind Tiger. People thought that's what it was playing on.
And that's exactly what I thought. I was like, oh, I'm so excited that
Yeah.
Knott's is doing secret bars or secret rooms. Love that concept. And so I really wanted to be there for their first secret room.
Yeah.
Extremely disappointed that it was a gag. I get it. I understand. But Knott's, I would just say, do a secret room and don't announce it on social media. How about that?
Because it'll get out.
Let's do a reverse Uno. You know that someone's going to discover it on night one, and then once that happens, oh, it was something you stumbled upon. And I think that's the route that you should take. Still, though, it was...
But sorry, I interrupted about Ghost Town.
Oh, yeah, Ghost Town.
But
Need I say more?
I mean, Ghost Town's Ghost Town. You know,
It's the OG.
1972, 1973.
I like that you say that though, because there is something to be said about every single scare. We'll get to Boardwalk in just a second, but to be able to sit in the place that it started
Yeah.
and be able to sit on that bench right outside of the restaurant in Fog Alley and just enjoy it and watch people get scared and see monsters running around, sliding around, and the fog.
And the cheesecloth spider webs.
Yes, yeah,
Love it.
It's just you don't get any better than that.
No.
And granted, there's going to be something eventually that could be better than that, but right now, that's still number one, baby.
The element of that area has such rich history. You just feel like it's Halloween time when you're there. Now, there's one area that I just wish that they would improve on when it comes to another scare zone, and we're going to talk about Carnival.
Carnival.
I'm going to say this right now.
They have the hardest job.
Those scare actors have the hardest job. They cannot hide with the element of their area. I get it, it's a boardwalk, but a boardwalk is bland. It is bland, and they do their best, and my God, there's so much energy in Carnival with those clowns. Love it. You guys are incredible. Give them something.
I wish they would help them out.
Give them something. Give them
I would love for them to dim up the boardwalk and make it darker and
I would love for
kind of
them to
set
turn
lights
off the street lights and just do the strip lighting.
Yep.
And then uplight a couple of the trees.
Give them little set pieces to work with, and I'm just like give them.
Because you're fighting with roller coasters.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just not scary. It's not scary. And I get it. Like, Carnival is kind of like a half comedy, half scary maze, right? The clowns will talk to you. They'll insult the shit out of you. Sorry, zone. Did I say maze?
Yeah.
I meant zone.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but it just feels so bad because they're really not given a lot of mood and atmosphere to work with. The Goring 20s was different. They weren't really given a whole lot of sets, but that area lends itself definitely to a 20s vibe, kind of.
And they basically had pop boxes where those stands had doors to go in and little areas to pop out of. Like they could do that. They could do something so well for Carnival to make sets on the sides that
Just get your professional performers
almost like
to be there.
Get evil,
Or
make
even
it
just the sets. You all went to Mesmer.
Just the sets.
And they had like the bearded lady out there, and they had the contortionist. Even if you just put those tents blocked off, obviously we don't need people going into tents at Not Scary Farm. But even if you just had those kind of set up around the area, that would add so much ambience and give the talent something to work with. Because goddamn, you can see thread coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
All the way down the midway, I can see a clown.
And what if, and I'm going to take something from Universal Studios, but Jack the Clown has his basically horror, torture, carnival, and if you had bodies on
float style,
like displays on floats and things like that, and like, people were throwing knives in them and stuff like that they could jump up on and jump down from and stuff. Like, you basically would make a clown oh my god.
The jungle gym?
Yeah, like a clown jungle gym, just like in Dark
You
Ride.
need to give Boardwalk a jungle gym.
Well, and like, oh yeah.
They're clowns.
But the thing is,
let's
like,
do it. Like, there's a jungle gym
That will
inside Dark
break
Ride.
an hour
But-
one.
Let's make a jungle gym
But I
for
agree.
them.
The thing is with that is like, okay, we put a bunch of scary clowns on Boardwalk. What's the story? There is a story behind Ghost Town. There is a story behind Forsaken Lake. There's a story behind The Hollow. There is even a story behind the Goring 20s. Give a story worthy to those clowns for Carnival. It shouldn't just be, we're a bunch of clowns in Carnival. There should be a reason why they're there, and it should be just some effed up stuff. And if you can't do it, then okay, you know what? Instead of clowns, I'm going to say something controversial, make them dolls and just give them a bunch of like oversized play things. You could do a giant rocking horse in one section and they could just be on it and just looking at you. That's unsettling. Jack-in-the-Box toys and they could just pop out instead of it being the toy. There's just so much you can do. I feel bad for those vendors. So, sorry.
They do a fantastic job.
And that's why
yeah.
we say like Boardwalk really works the hardest. They really do.
Yeah.
Because you can see them.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere for like if something's going wrong, I can duck into a corner and I'm pretty sure most people won't see me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
So it
I can stand up
really
against a door.
you got to give props to Boardwalk for the amount of, and I agree with you guys. They should be given something to work with. But I also know a lot of the clowns, and I don't know if I want to give them a lot of things because they're
it.
But if they do, you know that they're gonna run with that story and they're gonna sell it.
Oh yeah, if you put one porta potty prop in Boardwalk,
And you
every single clown would figure out a way to fit into it.
Yeah, and you know what you could say? You could be like, listen, this is the story. You were given birth and you came out of this porta potty. You don't know how. And they would just run with it.
Yeah.
They're just great
The porta
improvers.
potty would teleport.
It would just move.
It would just move by
would move
itself.
through the whole
You'd
thing.
see like 18 sets of legs in one porta potty. Just
Clown car, clown car, clown car.
Absolutely.
But
give them a porta potty.
overall, we are very excited for Not Scary Farm. Tickets go on sale August 15th, and that's not too far away. So make sure to get those tickets because the event will more than likely sell out. Also,
Are you excited for Puppet Up?
oh, I'm super excited for Puppet Up.
So let's talk about those shows. There's 4 shows coming back. Puppet Up, the Carnival de Grotesque,
Carnival de Grotesque, Conjures, Dark
Conjures.
Magic, and Into the Fog.
and Into the Fog. So the Into the Fog is probably going to be opening up early. We'll try to be there. Usually I get little birds talking to my ear that it's going to be opening up, so we'll try to get down there as quickly as possible. And if you want to join, we have some
I want
tickets
my
for
new
you.
Spirit jersey. If
Well,
they
you
have
love
one.
it.
Yeah.
I love that.
And we had to wait a little bit, but I think they're bringing back these shows. It's fine. I've talked my piece about certain things just because I think that the shows should be themed to the event. But I know Puppet Up is extremely popular, and I love Jim Henson puppets. To wrap this up, I think there's going to be a lot of great things coming into Not Scary Farm this year, especially with the 2 new mazes. I think that there are a lot of things that are being, just kept
Yes.
because we are gearing up for the 50th anniversary of Not Scary Farm next year. And I think it is just going to explode. Hopefully. So
as soon as the 2 new mazes come out, we're going to be doing a video on that. But overall, so far, how you guys are out of 5 pumpkins? How excited are you for?
5 out of 5 pumpkins.
4 out of 5 pumpkins,
4
for
out of
sure.
5 pumpkins? Yeah.
I am excited because we're getting 2 new mazes.
Yes.
Can't wait to see Puppet Up. I think I'm going to do the buffet dinner this year.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think I need to get a front of the line pass
You don't.
No.
because I'm just going to, my big goal here is to just do those 2 new mazes, go to Puppet Up, eat, and I'm just going to sit down and watch these 2 fools do their thing. And that's really what I do. Ah, my siblings. But overall, guys, a fantastic lineup, and we are extremely excited. Make sure to get your tickets. They come out on August 15th. This event will sell out. Make sure to get those tickets as soon as you can, especially if you want to go on a weekend night.
Yeah.
And then have fun. Don't forget to have fun. One other thing that we can't stress enough is please be respectful when you go to these events. This is not the time to act a fool.
It is not.
Because when you act a fool, it really ruins the experience for everyone else. And I think, like, well, why should I care? Because I know there's people out there that are not selfish human beings that want other people to have a good time. And these viewers are one of them. We love you for that.
Yeah.
So please be respectful, have a good time, happy haunt, and we'll be here to update you more on anything announced from Knott, especially those 2 new mazes. And for anyone that's interested, we will be doing more in-depth coverage on Halloween Horror Nights and their mazes, as well as potential haunted hayride or any other haunt news. Thank you guys so much for watching, and always be ready.
So you never know, your compass will take you. Bye, guys.